All right, Dr. Stephen, you are here today, and the topic is a very, very hot topic. The topic is investing in the USA. Now, before I ask you any investment-based questions, how I saw you in the USA, you are like a goldfish. You cannot hide. I saw you in the USA doing your regular business. What do you think about the USA business terrain as compared to Nigeria? What are your thoughts?
Very good question. So I think honestly, I will start by saying that it's a lot easier, but it's also a lot difficult that it is. So what do I mean? When we expanded to US, we had over $1 million to start business with, right? So we are in a different category. An average person moving to America has just sold their house, their everything they had in Nigeria, and barely was able to pay for flight tickets and accommodation for where they're going to stay. So they are not, to be honest, they are not always in my shoes, where in our case, we had a lot of money to expand our business in America with. Hence, it was a lot easier. That's why I say it's easier, because what then happened in our case was, for every 1 million naira I have, $1 million I have, I could chase a $4 to $5 million property. Let me say that again. For every $1 million I have, I could leverage it to be in control of a property worth between $4 to $5 million. You can't do that in Nigeria, because in Nigeria, every property you want to buy, you have to pay 100%, right? And you have to pay everything 100% down. But in those parts of the world, if you are a resident, you with Social Security with 15%, 20%, 30%, we try to do 30%, right? You can get the remaining 70% from institutional investors. And that makes it a lot easier compared to Nigeria. Number two, there are a lot of laws governing everything you're doing. Everything is very regulated. As long as you're very trained, you're professional. I had to go to Harvard University to add to my knowledge for 2 years to learn real estate investment, particularly in the US, how it works. I had to learn from someone like Grant Cardone. Grant Cardone controls over $5 billion worth of real estate assets. I think almost $8 billion now. I had to get mentorship from him. It cost me over $250,000 that he frees to get a mentor in the US who is way ahead, just to understand the market. I was already doing well in Nigeria, doing well in UK, doing well in Dubai. But I didn't want to assume that, UK experience or Dubai experience, right, was going to be what I needed for US. I wanted to be sure that we understood that market well. And it's little wonder, we're sitting on a $200 million project now that we're working on between now and the year 2030. So it's easier in America, I must confess, but it's also based on, your ability. How did you enter? Because if you are somebody who is still, on debts, credit card debts, and card debts, mortgage, you have a bad credit, right? You can't be thinking of the kind of massive projects we are doing. You can't just be thinking of that. But the good news also, the third benefit is that it's based on merit. Somebody will come after me because something. You can fight anything. If I have anything, I can still go to court, including if it's with law enforcement. I can fight for my rights. And I think that's one of the things I love about America. Everybody has equal rights to be able to fight for what they think is
what
due,
they believe.
what they believe, and you can fight it through, and the law is going to be as just as possible to you. Unlike a certain part where you need to have connection, you need to do this, you need to do that, and things like that. Yeah.
Okay, Dr. Stephen Akintayo, I want to ask you a question. Which worries you more? Investing in Nigeria or investing in the US?
When you are putting it now, you make it look as if I'm trying to tell people not to invest in Nigeria. And that's not and that's not what I'm
No,
trying
but,
to
but
do
from
today.
an investment point of view, because I've always worried about this. I've
Yes.
always worried about this.
Uh,
So, what are
so
your thoughts,
my,
Dr. Stephen?
my thought is it, different things, different advantages and different disadvantages. Yes, I'm more worried doing business in Nigeria, right? I can't have such an headache where I buy property from somebody and then another person is showing up to say, in few cases, but it's not rampant the way it happens here. So yes, you get more headache trying to do business in Nigeria because anything anything and everything is common. In the US, on the other hand, once I do it by the books, once I buy it properly, I don't have a headache. I can go to bed. My money is secured, my property is secured. I don't need to wonder whether Monile will come and take my land. I don't need to wonder whether somebody will steal my land. It is there. So I think, yes, I get more worried about Nigeria. However, the advantage of Nigeria is that you will get more returns. So, for example, in Nigeria, I can buy a land that is free, and in 1 year, the land has more than double. I can sell it for double the price. I can't do that in America. I have to. In Nigeria, literally, you can buy a land. You do not even do anything with it to it. You do not even do first. You do not do anything, and then 1 year later, you can sell it double. That can happen in America, right? Even their law prohibits certain exorbitant, they call it price gouging, right? So if you overhype the price of whatever you're selling in America, you can be sued for that, right? So the kind of profit you will make in a developing world like Nigeria, you can't make it in America. So what I advise investors, balance the two. Have some investment here in Nigeria, have some investment in America, because you and I know that it is also that there are other issues that come up with investment in America. For example, you fail to pay your mortgage, they can, of course, foreclose on you. The city can foreclose on you. HOA is like their housing association, can foreclose on you just because that the freeze you not pay maybe $200 annual due of your housing association. They can sell your property and declare foreclosure. Yes, in America. So there are other areas also where there are issues here and there when it comes to America as well. So I always advise balance the two. Make sure that you have some investment locally here in Nigeria, or Africa, and we have some investment in the US.
I want to ask you, you've built a remarkable career in real estate and investments. Can you briefly share what inspired you to go to this America? How this aligns with your global vision? I want us to talk about what funded the idea that you should go to the US, and why the US, why not Canada? Most Nigerians are running away to Canada right now. Why didn't you think of Canada or Germany or Europe or the UK? Why from Dubai you went to the USA? I want to hear from you, Dr. Stephen.
Thank you for that question. So, in fact, let me say this. Every progress in my life and business has always come from a place of pain. I find my people celebrating certain things in my life. And what they didn't know is that I got into those things from a place of pain, and God just turned it around for good. So I had this real estate deal in Dubai, and lost over $1 million. And then I stayed in Dubai for almost a year trying to get the legal system to help me get this money back. And I couldn't, right? So I said to myself, I need to expand to countries where the law, right, can be fair to everyone. Whether I know the president of the United States or I don't, if I think somebody cheated me, I can take them to court and I can fight it through the legal system. For me, that was number one. Why Next America? However, we are currently in the UK. Of course, not at the scale we are in the US, but we are already in the UK even before we started expanding to the US. But number two is also the financial system, right? In the US, there is a robust financial system. For every real estate transaction, there is already money waiting to look for serious people to support. And that the phrase America is a magnifier. And they love big thinkers. They love big ideas.
Now, one thing that we're talking about earlier on was empowering Africans to build wealth. You are notorious for empowering, in a good way, by the way, for empowering Africans to build wealth. Now, how does your extensive experience, your magnificent, your magnanimous experience in real estate, both in Nigeria and internationally, position you to be a leader in the US investment market?
Well, and again, thank you for that question. I always argue that Nigeria should celebrate the system they are in because it prepares you for other markets. And that's why I get a bit upset when I see people who are doing entrepreneurship here in Nigeria, and then they leave Nigeria for Canada or UK or US and abandon entrepreneurship. I always get upset because I feel those systems, those countries will, help you when you are coming from, and with all the background, the challenges, you are your own power generating company, you are your own internet provider, you are your own security, you are your own, all of it, right? All
your
that
own security guard, your own security.
You are everything, right? All that you don't experience in this developed world. And so, but the good news is that Nigeria gives you street sense, smartness.
Street sense and street credibility.
There are challenges everywhere in the world, in business. And you can lose money anywhere in the world. But it's a lot easier when you have the Nigerian street sense. You will look at things twice. Even in America, as I speak to you, I already have at least 4 lawyers, and I don't have a single court case. Just be smart enough. Yes, 4 lawyers already. Different aspects of law. Already, I have 4 lawyers in America as we speak. So you have to literally law up and guide yourself. But all those things come from experience. So the experience I got in Nigeria and Dubai, all that helped me, to be able to position properly in America. And we thank God for the growth, for the expansion.
Let's talk about your scary $200 million US project in America. As in $200 million.
Well, so the beauty of America is, we're only bringing 30% of that $200 million. The rest is coming from institutional investors, right? And the advantage that the phrase that we have is because we've built credibility. I'm not sure I've told you this, that as I speak to you, we're having different institutional investors on our net. Everybody wants to invest in our deal. Everybody, every institutional, every lender is excited to invest. And and that's why you need to build credibility over the years. Because once they Google the name of the company, once they Google my name, what they find, what we've done before, begin to speak for us. And everybody's like, we want to do business with you. So for me is I'm excited about it. The goal is actually more than the $200 million. The goal is that in the next 5 years, we want to do over $1 billion property under our management in the next 5 years. That's where we are going. So the 200 million is just the phase one. And we have a 99-acre we are turning to a green and smart estate. So the front part will be commercial. The middle, we are putting a golf course. And then the back, we're selling land for those who want to buy land. The second project we're working on is our office. You remember we bought an office for $1.6 million. So the front of the office has a lot of land. So we want to build a 6-story commercial building on it, right? Because we have enough land in front of the office, and people who are in US can visit our office. Once you book, you can come around, and you've done a couple of events. We still have some events we're putting together in November. I think we have one free real estate event, and you can come to the office. We would love to have you around in Katy. So the third project is a 89 units, 2-bedroom, 2 and 3-bedroom property. It already has the horizontal permits. So, once we get the vertical permit, we start constructing 89 housing units. And then the fourth project is a 24 unit in Tidwell. Tidwell is just about 12 minutes from downtown Houston, and it's about 15 minutes, 16 minutes to Bush International Airport. So that one is a 24-unit apartment, 1-bedroom apartment. We're not selling that. We just want to rent it out for the next 10 years and be getting rental income and then sell it after 10 years, right? So those are the 4 projects that, what is going into them constitute about $200 million. But we have some new projects we will soon launch next year. We have a 2,000 farm land, 2,000 acre farmland close to Dallas, Texas, we're about to acquire. And I love that because, I'm in talk with even Alibaba. We're looking at doing like, so I don't know whether you've been to Disney before. If you have been to Disney, Daddy Freeze, did you go to the African village in Disney when you went to Disney? Did you go to the African village? Did you?
I don't remember. I was a kid.
Oh, okay. If you go to Disney and you go to the African village, you will be embarrassed. The only thing they put there is goats, maybe alligator to depict Africa. I'm not kidding you. And people pay so much money to go and experience Africa. The only other thing is that they have this train that will take you to the place. All those old train that will have a portmanteau on top, right? That's the experience you get when going to the African village in Disney. Anybody who has been to Disney and went to African village, I'm sure you confirm what I'm talking about. So myself and Alibaba are discussing some ideas about really creating a real African experience. If I'm using the map of Africa.
That one will be sweet. I can, because of that one, come to America.
And even using it in form of the African map. So we designed the whole thing, and every African country, we have like their own studio, that depict and paint the real African heritage. And people can always go there every Independence Day of every African nation. Diplomats come there, have an experience, a whole type of Disney, but telling an African story, right? So there's a lot cooking up that we are working on. Yes, it's a long-term project. The first one of 99 acre, we're targeting concluding by the year 2030. The office one, we're targeting concluding that by the year 2027. The 89 unit as well, 2027, while the 24 units will be completed by the end of 2025, first quarter of 2026. So different project, different timeline, but we're excited. And what I think we should encourage under the freeze, this is important. Whether you can invest or you can't invest, send goodwill. Is very important. Send goodwill. So let's be proud of our own. Let's support our own. Nobody is perfect. No business is perfect. But we don't need to go about, pulling people down. We don't need it.
So, Dr. Stephen, I want to ask you another question. Africans are looking to invest, but they are concerned, and I'll not lie, this concern is real. They are concerned about the legitimacy and security of projects. What steps do you personally, as Dr. Stephen Akintayo, take to ensure that your investors can trust the process? It's one thing to have a process, and it's another thing to trust the process. What steps do you take for your investors to trust the process, particularly with this large-scale project?
Beautiful. I mean, you and I agree with me that we didn't necessarily need to have a $1.6 million office, right? But that was for us number one step we needed to take so that people could see that they can come to our US office. They can talk to us. We do event time to time in our US office. I also just bought a property by 3.3 acre. All that were also intentionally done. I mean, to make sure people know we're on ground. This is not some, we're on ground. And so that's first. I'm on ground. Personally, I'm going to be staying more in the US than anywhere else, or from now onwards, just to personally supervise all the projects we're doing. Number two, we've created a very transparent process. And if you notice, you have been working with us for a while now.
Yes,
you remember, I think, I'm not sure if I remember, my team told me one of the first time we wanted you to, promote one of our projects in Nigeria, that you asked if it was necessary for you to go there physically. And I remember saying to the team, I said, we always want people to go there so that you are promoting it, you are confident yourself of what you are promoting. You were there, right? There's no project we do in Nigeria that anybody can come and tell you nonsense about because you were there. There's none of our projects in Nigeria we've asked you to promote that you have not been there yourself. So you saw it, and you know how real it is. And the same thing we have continued to do. Dr. Cosmos visited us 2 weeks ago in the US and toured. If I took him 4 hours to go to all the projects we have, some of the video I think you posted as well. I mean, he sends a lot of his prayers and well wishes. We're always doing videos to show people we're on ground. This is real. You can monitor things as they progress. You can visit yourself and see as they progress. But the good news is we also have office in Nigeria. We have office in Dubai. So, you are dealing with a company that, they're not going anywhere. They are everywhere. And you can always go. And the business is also not a one-man business. There are solid people who work in the business, solid professionals who are in our company. So for me, and we have history that if you and I agree with me that you cannot sustain something for 16 years of delivering value to people, of keeping your promises for 16 years across the globe. I think that counts for something. One of the things I always say is that if you jump up, right, you will come down. But if you grow up, you will stay up. The story of our company is that we grew up. We didn't jump up. We didn't just jump and emerge from anywhere. And that's how we've grown. Because people always ask me, you are not from a rich home. How did you get here? I said, I made trust. And so people constantly till tomorrow are willing to risk their money, do business with us, and we have done our best. In the case where there are issues, we always communicate it. I always say to our management staff, always communicate challenges, because integrity is saying what you mean and letting your yes be yes and your no be
Yes,
yes.
and your no be no.
And your no be no. However, in the case where things happen beyond your control, where
Your
your yes
control.
cannot be yes and your no cannot be no, also communicate it. Let people know, right, that this is where we are. This is the challenges we are facing. Show evidences so people can know. Unfortunately, most people don't do business that way. Once there is a challenge, they disappear. Nobody can find them. Nobody can trace them. That's not how business is done. Business will always have challenges, but learn to communicate it when things don't go the way you plan, right? Again, it affects your self-esteem. It is letting your yes be yes, your no be no. And in the case where beyond your control, you cannot keep to your word. To things that are beyond your control, you must communicate it. So integrity cannot be, transparency cannot be removed from integrity. You must be willing to communicate what you're doing, how you're doing it, and the challenges you're experiencing. For me, that is what has kept our business this far.
Dr. Stephen, that is absolutely amazing by any standard. Anyone who can sail through this is really ready to be an entrepreneur. And not just an entrepreneur, a successful entrepreneur. Now, you've offered several products under the $200 million initiative, from land to guaranteed ROI investments and housing. Can you break down each of these products with the key benefits investors can expect? $200 million. What is the ROI? Let us start from there. I'm sorry I'm asking you this question, but this is a very tough. In Nigeria, if they don't hear 40% per month, not in the year, 40% a year is impossible, but they want it monthly.
When people ask this kind of question, I always say we are not a Ponzi scheme. Let me start with that disclaimer. And when you're doing investment internationally, Daddy Freeze, your ROI has to be reasonable. It has to be something that even the government can look at and they can say, okay, this makes sense. This is realistic for this guy to be able to do this business and make this much and pay this much, right? A lot of people have run into crisis in developed world, and they didn't know that the beginning of the crisis was that the FBI or whoever is investigating the case looked at it and said, first of all, the return you promised these people is not realistic. If you have watched American Greed, you know, they air it on CNBC, American Greed. If you have watched those series, you will see that the first proof that something is a Ponzi scheme is unrealistic returns on investment. That's the first proof, right? Right? Unrealistic returns on investment. So once you are mentioning figures that is, I shared this with people to educate. I said there are 3 levels of risk in investment. We have what we call high risk investment. When you are looking at something between 8% up to 15%, you can call it a mid risk in America. And then low risk are from 1% to 7%. It's called low risk
That's
investment.
Like government bonds.
Bonds, yes, bonds, fixed deposits, even with your bank. Even Wells Fargo, I think, did a promo for 4-point-something% recently. So those are low risk. Insurance, low risk returns. So we need to understand that clearly. So anytime, and I need to say this, that because if we don't say, you see people say, oh, the returns is low. The returns is low because we are not a Ponzi scheme and we cannot, do unrealistic returns. So what we give in returns on a yearly basis starts from 6% and stretches to as high as 15%, depend on how much you invest. So the higher the amount you invest, the higher the returns. But because we are in that mid-risk spectrum, and real estate really is a mid-risk investment. It's not high and it's not low, right? It's in that mid-risk range. So, but let me break down some of the projects. So the 99 acre, what we've done is a unique, by the way, we're launching it December. Yes. So we'll be doing our first allocation in December on the 99 acre. So we are giving people opportunity to own a land in America. We call it land banking. Land banking simply means is a business model in real estate where you buy land for the purpose of development or investment. You are buying the land, you are living for another 5 to 10 years. So we're giving people opportunity to buy up to 1 acre minimum. You can buy 2 acre, you can buy 3 acre, you can buy 4 acre, but 1 acre minimum in Brookshire, Texas. Brookshire is not far from Katy, so we're giving people that opportunity and you can invest. So that's the first way you can do. Just buy your 1 acre from us. By December, we allocate it to you. We're also giving people opportunity to just deposit and then spread the balance. So in other words, you can just deposit as low as $50,000 or low, and then you spread the balance within 6 to 12 months for your 1 acre. We only have 50 slots for this, and it started moving, so there are a few slots left. The other way people can invest is and that works for our housing, the commercial real estate, for the 89 units we're building, and for the 24 units, is to just invest and get returns on investment, right? Like I've mentioned, where we give between 6% to 15% based on how much you invest. So those are the two options. Either you are buying land from us, or you are buying, you are just investing. We use your money to expand, and then we'll give you returns out of the profit that we make. By the grace of God, from 2026, we will also start selling houses. In fact, we're starting next year. We're selling houses as well, for those who want to buy off plan. And then from 2026, we will have already fully built units that people can pay for and just move in. But for now, either they buy land or they invest for a return, and we're able to keep doing business with the investment and give them a portion of the money. I always say this, that the freeze, one of the best way to become financially free is for you, okay, to have money work for you instead of working for money, right? But if you can take the risk and gradually begin to put something aside towards your future by partnering with somebody that has integrity, that has credibility, to say, okay, I'll be investing my money and I want returns. Over 10 years, you'll be shocked how much you will have put together for yourself. And that's really because people ask me, we did a training and said, here in America, it's not easy to save money because you are paying tax, you are paying bills. And I said, one of the ways is just look for an investment and just, be putting something every month, just be putting. Years later, you will have come up with something. But to be looking for that bulk money, you may never be able to find it, right? And when money start working for you, you put in, $20,000 is the minimum investment we take. We used to take 10,000, but Daddy Freezer, as you know, I learned years ago that you must be careful who you bring into your business, because there are certain people who just want to use it to brag. Right? So I intentionally be careful to say, hey, whoever will invest with us, let's be sure, one, they are financially stable, right? They've been able, because for you to cough out $20,000, it most likely will be a passive income. Because I would tell people, when it comes to investment, don't use your emergency funds for investment. Don't do it, right? It should be money that you don't need urgently that you should put into investment.
For Nigerians and for foreign investors, the idea of real estate abroad can be very, very complicated. How do you simplify these things? African investors, Nigerian investors in particular, need to understand the taxation system. They need to understand what it means to invest in the USA. Okay, if I invest and I make £5,000 or $5,000 profit, do I have to pay tax? Who do I pay tax to? Can I bring my money to Nigeria? So there are lots of these questions that people are asking. How do you simplify the process to make investment easier for the people?
Very good question. It's important to know that investing in developed countries, not just America, is different from Africa. However, even if you don't live in the US, you can invest in the US. In fact, I will argue with you that it is part of the reason why you can get visa. Okay. I tell people, as much as when it comes to visa, it's strictly in the hands of the interviewer, but you owning assets in the US already gives you a higher leverage, because you can boast and say, hey, I have not even been to your country, but I have this investment, I have this investment, I have that investment. It allows them to say, well, they can take you serious. You're a high net worth individual, and you're the kind of people that they want to see in their country. Also, we have been helping people who invest with us up to 200,000 to link them with our immigration lawyers to be able to cancel them, because some of these things are very easy. Moving to America, living in America is not that difficult. But
it's not difficult at all.
It's not.
If Samaria and Sabio can do it, you can do
it. Exactly. You just need professionals to work with you. And so one of the things with those who work with myself, my staff, our immigration lawyers, we always link them with our investors. For those who want either residency or they want to visit or they're looking at expanding their businesses, we always try to work, and link them up with professionals who will help them. Number three that you need to note if you want to invest in America and you are not an American or you don't live in America, is that when it comes to repatriating your money, you can do that with no hassle. Everybody investing with us, we are able to return your money to you, tax or no tax, right? As long as you are not investing through our American entity. So what we did was, those who are Americans are investing through our American entity. Those who are not Americans are investing through our non-American entities, so that they are not, you are not under the pressure for tax. But if you don't live in America and you are insisting you want to invest and you want to pay tax, what you can do is called ITIN. ITIN. You can apply for ITIN. Where with an ITIN is an opportunity for you who is a non-resident to still pay tax if you want to pay tax, right? But the way we've done it is up to the investor. Once you are not, of course, if you are in the US, you know how to pay your tax. And
100%.
if you also want it to be tax deductible, there are also ways around it. You can, consult your tax professional. They will guide you on how you can do real estate asset, because real estate asset that the freeze allows you to, if you do it in certain way, not to pay tax on the returns. But you have to work with a professional who will guide you on how. Yeah, so they work with you and say, okay, this is how to go about it. and that's one of the things with GTEx. You know, the fact that we've done business internationally had helped us to be very structured and very, you know, formal in our way of doing business. Because we've seen it all. And you just have to be extremely careful about everything to show you do things by the books.
By the book, Dr. Stephen, by the book. Because if you don't do things by the book, now problem you they find. For those looking to invest in land, how does land ownership in the US work, and what are the opportunities available through your projects for foreign investors, Dr. Stephen?
Beautiful question. Very good question. So for those who are investing in land, and that's the beautiful thing GTEx is doing, and they may not get it elsewhere. In US, you have to pay tax. And so if you're doing land banking with us, what we have come up with, and I think this is good news, for those who want it, when you buy land from us, if you want it, we will put, because what we normally do is to apply for agric exemption. So in places where we should have been paying, I'm just giving an example, where we should have been paying, let's say, $2,000 every year on tax that it frees. Because we are on agric exemption, we can be paying $50 a year. So
is agric extension legal?
Yes, it's legal, you know, particularly in the state of Texas. So basically, you have this massive land. Instead of just leaving it like that, you can get people who do cattle or people who do grow crops. You lease the land to them, and they will be paying you peanuts. But the advantage is that peanut can then cover for your tax, because by that agricultural work, the tax goes down. Like I said, instead of you paying like $2,000, you may just need to pay $50 or even less than $50 a year, because they are farming on your land. So what we advocate when you are doing land banking in America is wisdom to lease the land for agricultural purpose so that your tax can come down. And that way you practically are not even paying any tax. But for you that you are not in America to go and be filing for all the taxes. And GTEx is willing to do all that headache for you. In other words, when you buy our land, we will help you take care of all the tax filing if you want us. Of course, you have the right to say, no, I don't want that. Cut me out of your program. I want to handle everything myself. You can do that. But if you feel that I don't live in, yes, if you feel that I don't live in America, I don't want all this wahala of taxes and all of that, we will go ahead, lease it, use some money coming from the farming to pay the tax on it. And that way, you are not bothered about paying taxes every year until maybe 5 years later you want to sell your land, or 10 years later you want to sell your land. So that's one of the advantage of doing land banking with us. You can buy a land from us, keep it for 5 years, and sell it when the value will have gone up. Another benefit that it is of doing land banking with us is that we normally buy large number, and then the project we then do on the rest, we sell half, we build on the half. Our own project on the half always raise the value. So like this Brookshire Jasper now, the vision is 99 acres, we sell 50 acres, we do golf course on 20 acres, and we do residential and commercial on the remaining 29 acres. Now, our own project, and that has happened even with our African projects, our own project alone keeps getting the value of the property to go up, right? And that has done a long, it has helped in a great way for a lot of people who are investing with us, because now property you bought, I mean, I don't know whether you went to one of our estates that we started selling for 1.5 million, and they're real, and now it's going for 40 million plus, right? You know,
real estate that is near Dangote's refinery.
Refinery, yes, you've been there. I think so, yeah. So when we started that project 2019, it was 1.5 million. Now it's going for 40 million plus per plot. So, and part of it is because we did interlocking, we fenced the project, we started work. So our own projects always help the value of your property to start going up because of what we are doing. So that's one of the benefits that people enjoy. But the good news, like I said, is it doesn't matter anywhere you are in the world. You can invest with us. You can own your land, and you can sell your land. You can get your money back. No issue whatsoever.
The idea of guaranteed ROI is very appealing. Please, Dr. Stephen, explain how this particular model works and what investors can expect in terms of returns and timelines.
So it's criminal in developed parts of the world to give people guarantee return. I mean, expressly states guarantee return on investment is actually against the law. In developed world, the law recognizes the fact that every investment is a risk, and as such, there is no guarantees. However, what you can quote is our track record, which is that everybody who invested cash with us got back their capital and got back their returns. And we have done that all these years, right? Yes, you can find people who say, oh, I bought land and I wanted my money back due to one reason or the other. I bought house, I don't want the house again due to one reason or the other. That's a different case. But you hardly will find anybody who invested money with us just for investment and expected to be getting annual returns or their capital and they didn't get it. We've never done that. So we've kept, and that's why people like us have the confidence to be on platforms like this. Else, of course, you will have been hearing all manner of stories. So we've kept a good name. We've kept a good track record. Where there are delays, we've communicated it, but we have prioritized making sure we deliver even in tough situations to our investors. And today you'll be glad to know that the freeze, we've paid over $1 million to investors as returns, right? Over $1 million that has been paid to investors. But the law will not allow us to come and say, oh, there's guaranteed. No. Also, the capital has to be kept for minimum 3 years. You have to keep your capital with us 3 years or 5 years or 10 years. We don't do all this. You put in money today, you get your capital tomorrow. We don't do all of that because we have to be careful, you know. And for me, I am very, very conscious of those things. So we can never guarantee or give guarantee returns. We can't say that. It's against the law.
So when it comes to doing business, you need someone who is honest with you. And somebody asked the question, they saw some people on my live. People used to come on my live and do this kind of thing you are doing. Dr. Stephen, you are the only one I still allow to come to my live to sell it. Because they run it once they hear that disclaimer like this, they just say, no, it will chase customers away. Please,
I mean,
Dr. Stephen will tell you that if you yourself are not comfortable, don't do it.
Exactly. I've always maintained it all these years, right? If you're not comfortable, I'm one of those who can be very blunt, right? And I thank God because I've moved past the era where I'm hungry, right? Or is the little thing that I will eat that is my headache anymore. If a man can afford to live a multi-million-dollar house of his own, you should know that he don't try. Okay, so for me, I choose my clients and I only choose people who can see the vision, they see where we are going, they understand the long-term vision, and I'm very straight up with you. You are investing with us, your capital has to be with us for 3 years or for 5 years or for 10 years. Yes, we can be giving you the returns every year or every 18 months. That's fine. and the returns are reasonable returns. They're ranging between 6% to 15%, depend on how much you invest. There's a table the team will send to you once you reach out to us. But if you're not comfortable, that's okay. Some of us have gotten to a level, with due respect, that if you can't trust our word for it, then there's no point you even waste your time trying to invest. If you have an iota of doubt, don't waste your time, right? What I know is just like some people, 3 years down the line, the same you will tell people, I used to know that guy when he was starting this project. I doubted him. See what he has done. So results, like they say, always terminate insults. But do it because you believe. Do it because you see the vision, you believe in the idea, and it makes sense to you. But I can advise you, even outside of us, don't put your money to people who are desperate to get your investment. Anybody who is telling you they are giving guarantee returns on investment in America, I need you to know they are breaking the law. The law does not allow such.
What about someone who doesn't have large capital but wants to be a part of this $200 million project? What are the entry points for smaller investors to participate?
Beautiful. Like I said, there is a $20,000 minimum entry, and they get annual returns or 18 months returns. If that's too much for you, we have an opportunity for you to refer people to us, and then you get a 3% commission. And that program, I've seen people who started there, and they started stacking up their commission till a point where it was big enough for them to buy their own property. Right? I myself that you are seeing here today, I did not start my real estate business with capital. People don't always believe it when I tell them. I started about 16 years ago or so as a property agent. I was selling for other real estate companies. And I used that period to do two things. Number one, to use it to learn. I understood the market. I understood what the client wants. I understood how the developers working. I was loyal to one of the developers I was working with so that I could study how real estate development works. Until 9 years ago, before I now started our own real estate development. And you will not even believe it. When we even started our own real estate development 9 years ago, it was one of those developers that look at me and say, you are good at selling. I have this 200 and something acres, I'm not able to sell it. I'll give you 50 acres. You have integrity. As you sell, be paying me. I have grown our business today by being able to attract goodwill. People trust us, and they give us their properties, they give us their money, and we've been able to constantly grow. And I think it's a very critical thing that we must all learn and do in business. Everything, it does not start with big money. Okay? And it's not just me that did it that way. Many people I've seen today started there. So our real estate in US, we give 3% referral. Our property in Dubai, we give 2% referral. Our landed property in Nigeria, we give 10% referral. Our housing property in Nigeria, we give 5% referral. In UK as well, we give 2% referral for any property you sell for us in the UK. So that is a starting point if you don't even have any money.
Any final words for the people listening to you right now?
Well, one thing I will say is never give up. Everybody has the right to doubt you. Everybody has the right to give up on you, but you dare not give up on yourself. One of my philosophy to life and business is I have decided to bet on me. I've decided to believe in myself and keep pushing. And that's what has gotten me so far. People have the right to have their doubts. You can't doubt yourself. So I want to encourage all of you. You can build wealth, but you have to believe it's possible. You have to believe it's for you. My mother was a civil servant. My father's business had crumbled before I was born. I wasn't from a rich home, but I was sick and tired of the poverty I saw growing up. I was committed that even though I was born to from a poor family, a wealthy family will come out of me. And the story is the same today. Even if you believe there's a curse on your head that says you will not prosper, remember the story of Jabez in the Bible. Jabez, literally was even called sorrow. But the Bible says one day Jabez cried to the Lord and God heard him. And I don't think your own story is that worse, where you were born in sorrow, they named you sorrow. You were born in sorrow. And I don't think your case is that worse. But even that case of Jabez, where you can say he had the license to remain poor, struggling for life, the guy prayed and God turned his story around. So I believe every one of you watching me, one day you can build your dream home, you can buy your dream house, you can live anywhere you want in the world. You can be a model that hard work pays and hard work works, and you can be successful. I remember that the freezer, this is one of the most proudest moments of my life. I wish you had visited me when I was in Dubai. When people come to Burj Khalifa, the residence part of Burj Khalifa, and they mention my name because we have blacks, security guys who are from Africa. Once they mention my name, sometimes people forgot their code because you have to enter with a code. Once you mention Dr. C, you say, that's our guy. Sometimes they've made their situation where they've helped my visitors just on the basis of the fact that they are proud that one of us is living at the tallest building in the world. That, many of them will tell me, we may not be wealthy enough to live there, but you represent us. Every success by black man is a success for the race. And we must take that very serious. Every one black person that is successful is a success for our race because it begins to change the perception that black is synonymous to lack, that black is synonymous to corruption, that being a Nigerian, you are doing Yahoo Yahoo, or you must be a crook, or you must be a 419. That's why every time I go to TV station in the US, I'm always wearing native because I'm trying to send a signal that not all Nigerians are poor, not